Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, today I have for you a little bit of a different cast. We are going to be having a look at a professional game, and we want to talk about a few things here. So, number one, obviously, kind of do a little bit of a summary of what exactly is going on in the meta right now. Currently in the meta, Sejuani and Maokai are very contested. For the mid lane, it is a lot of the time Azir, Victor, there's a Orianna, there's a Kali, there's Sylas. So these are kind of the base champions. And for the jungle, it is usually not Graves. It is usually Graves, actually. It's usually not Karthus, but we have a Karthus picked up here in the jungle by Gam. Now this one is actually quite the good pickup versus something like Karthus, versus something like the Nami. We are going to be locking in the Renekton versus Set. Honestly, Renekton is quite the controversial pick nowadays. I think mainly because LS is not the biggest fan of it, and then you have this like absolute animal of an influencer, right? Who just, his opinion has a lot of people just mindlessly echoing it, and a lot of people mindlessly just refuting it. So I'm not even going to like talk about this, right? Because a lot of yeah, I think there's a lot of contention about this issue that is, you know, kind of irrelevant, or you know, doesn't actually pertain to the issue itself. So give that a little bit of time, and you know, maybe you'll get a better conversation. All right, so TS is looking pretty good here, right? 1-2-2, where Gam hasn't had the best of runs. Looks pretty NA to them. For them, as a Kali ban is going to go through, obviously, versus the Knight, you definitely want to ban something like the Kali. Akali, probably one of the scarier picks here on the Knight. So you see a lot of actually bans coming out against Knight here, where we are currently trying to prohibit Kalista from getting a good support on the TS side, right? So a Mumu ban, the Nautilus ban. Then we have a ban for Nidalee versus Tian. Obviously, Nidalee is very good versus Karthus. Nidalee is generally a pretty strong invader and skirmisher, so she can absolutely just take over the jungle versus him. As we are going to be locking in Graves, so kind of the counterpart, the pendant here to Karthus. Very farm-oriented jungler as well. Solid clear speed, can be at most objectives, is faster at taking scuttle crabs, and is a little bit better at skirmishing versus the Karthus. As an Ornn is going to be picked up here, probably spelling the Set support here. Oh no, we are, oh, interesting. So we have a Set mid lane fighting off against, oh, do we pick Sylas or do we pick Ahri? To be honest, I think Ahri is a little bit better into the Sylas, but honestly, into the Set, but honestly, I don't think she is a very strong champion in itself. But yep, this is going to be the Ahri. All right, we'll see. So we have a top lane Ornn, a jungle Karthus, a mid lane Set, and then Kalista Renata for Gam, and TES is going to be rocking the Renekton top lane with Graves, so very AD heavy for the Ornn. Then we have Ahri in the mid lane, and we have the Lucian Nami, a pretty classic comp that has been nerfed quite a bit though, so it still has really good synergy, and it still works very well. And obviously for Worlds, it is quite important that you play what your team is good at as well. Not only, you don't only play, you know, the things that are meta, but you play what is meta for you. So, you know, might not be the most broken picks, right? But that doesn't mean that the picks are not still more than viable and very strong. And Nami Lucian is just very strong, has a lot of impact on team fights, and kind of a weird way of team fighting, right? But definitely very strong and can have a lot of impact on the game. Maybe not as much as something like the Renata, but still quite a bit, the Nami that is, right? And I think Renata also is a little bit more coin flippy, like Nami is a more reliable. And yeah. So a couple things to talk about here, obviously, is the level 1s. This is, again, right, more of a thing that if you play quite a bit of League, you are probably used to it. But for the lower elo players, getting rid of a good level 1 that covers a good amount of your strong emote game, that covers a good amount of your jungle entrances, is always good. So you kind of look where everyone's going, and then you go into the jungle opening that is closest to your lane. Kind of try to look where it makes sense, right? Obviously, a lot of the time, junglers will try to pick up a red trinket, a red warning trinket. Now, Karthus did not do that, where Graves did. So throw down a ward and then grab that, as the bot lane is a little sussy. All right, Lucian is going to pick up some first strike gold here, dealing damage to both style and bite. And Nami trading on to the Renata very well as well. But this is still a scary lane for Lucian Nami, as Kalista is a little bit of a dog, right? She just runs you down at a certain point. So definitely scary. All right. So Karthus is... Oh, fight in the bot lane, as Renata is very low. This is the Nami Lucian doing its best, right? They are not super good at like fighting, but they are very good at dealing isolated trade damage until the enemy team has no way to deal with it anymore. Set, he is running obviously the Doran's shield together with his passive that gives him quite a bit of healing and allows him to, you know, actually have some impact onto the mid lane. We're getting a push in. Obviously, Ahri not very strong at acquiring a push early on. And the way that we want to play this, okay, 302, 304, I think is what I heard. I think that is the speed at which Karthus cleared here. Very good job. This is very, very standard. We did a cast earlier that I'm probably not going to upload, but I casted a game of Tier 1 Owner. He also was around that mark, starting... Alright. There's no way they kill him. I don't think that he needed to flash that, to be honest. I actually don't think he needed to flash. But, you know, it is what it is. I might be wrong. As we are going to be able to pick up some minions, but this is a lot of damage traded onto him, obviously, and that opens up a punish here for Knight. As Karthus is coming into the mid lane, helping out his mid laner with pushing. This is exactly what you would expect of a, high elo team. These things, obviously, in pro play are like, very clearly that has to happen, but still, I think this is a great learning opportunity, right? If you're a jungler, you see a gank happened, a pressure gank happened onto your jungler, onto your mid laner. Now he's getting pushed in. Empathize with them. Think about, okay, well, what do they want to do with their lane now, and how do they, what can they do? and give him the opportunity to, in this case, for example, play a War of Attrition, right? Set now pretty much back to full HP, whereas Ahri has to recall because she doesn't have mana. Now, Set will regenerate HP one way or another. Ahri will not. So, Set is recalling. Ahri uses her TP to be back in the lane. TP obviously absolutely strong. As we see Merc Treads coming in here for the Set. Not a biggest fan, but I mean, yeah, it obviously makes a lot of sense, right? It's very solid. The problem is, if you're interacting with Graves and Renekton, they're not going to be the best. You're interacting with Lucian, they're not going to be the best. Specifically good versus Ahri, but you know, it is what it is. And obviously, they are absolutely, like, getting boots on Set early on is absolutely great, as Set does do very good base damage. Bubble is coming through. I mean, yeah, there's no pickup here for GAM Esports. Currently, Karthus is quite far ahead of this Graves in money as Wayward, playing with his food. So far, 9 CS lead and almost got a plate. I would say that's a pretty good lead, as are we thinking about diving this or no? We are thinking about ganking the Set. Are we even going to kill this guy? Alright, flash over the wall. Yep. Alright, that is a kill onto the Set picked up. Unfortunately, Karthus wasn't around to thwart that. Actually, really good ultimate as well by the Set, but it wasn't enough. Pretty rough, but yeah. Still, very good, as we are going to be... Oh, what is that? Flash horn, my dude. Alright, it's fine, honestly. Kill picked up onto Graves, but traded. And Knight is going to be going down to GAM Esports as well. So, yeah, it's barely a net positive for GAM, I would say. Barely. Because you obviously can't forget that 2 flashes were used here to make this play happen. And yeah, I just oh, the charm, that the fact that the charm landed was the thing that broke this fight. Had Karthus flashed the charm, I think that would have been a totally different fight. That would have been much more advantageous here for GAM. Unlucky, but obviously you are focused on hitting your Qs onto the Graves, so I understand that missing. Yeah, Graves going to be taxing a little bit of the mid lane farm here. Pog. As Tian is giving up a plate over to Ahri, and Karthus is just picking up Herald, just like that. I don't know if I agree with that, honestly. Like, I don't know if I think that should be possible, but I guess it is what it is. We are invading. Oh, flash by Set, but doesn't really get anything, as Graves has picked up the red buff already. He is now sitting around the bot lane. I don't think there's a dive opportunity here. It would be very forced because Karthus being there. Set obviously amazing at resisting dives. Renata as well, so not much reason. Beautiful flash by Renata, grabs the Nami, and that is the Nami superplexed back into the tower range. Kill picked up here by GAM. Very, very cocky by TES to stick around there so aggressively. Yeah, I don't know. Very, very aggressive. Without really much objective that they could acquire here. As we have a cleanse coming through for Kalista. Getting scared a little bit by Ahri. And that was actually a blind Q, I think. But yeah, so beautiful flash here by Kalista, right, by Renata, right, picks up the Nami, and Zed just superplexing her back into the tower range. Yeah, what do you do? You know, it is it's just a hard overstay. All right, Herald is going to be summoned in the mid lane. We have a little bit of a skirmish coming up here. Obviously, TAS want to kind of try to defend this as well as they can, but I think that the plates are going to be going down. Everyone kept out of range, so actually all the plates went over to Karthus. Actually pretty good. You want Karthus to have a lot of money. He is kind of one of these exceptions where you can say, okay, yeah, we can funnel the AD carry, but funneling Karthus is as good, if not even better. Because obviously, Karthus does a lot of damage that is just unavoidable. So if you can get that up, you can create a very stable and very reliable way to win team fights. Alright, TS trying to look for a dive here, but the Karthus ult and the Ornn ult come out to prevent that. Not the best of... I don't know. I don't know about the Karthus ult. Obviously, he is running first strike, so he is getting a good grab bag for ulting. And so, as Karthus, you're always looking for excuses to ult, because it's that money, right? Gives you that dopamine rush. You're like, oh yeah, money. Triggering first strike always feels good. But, you know, this means that now there is no Karthus ult available. Now, do we need a Karthus ult available? No, absolutely not. It is 4 minutes to the next dragon. And, you know, quite a bit longer for the next soul. Baron is also, you know, still like, yeah, good amount of time away, so we don't have to worry about Baron at all. And so the question is, what are we going to need Karthus ult for? Well, maybe this skirmish here down in the bot lane we would have needed it for. Renata ult grabs the Nami as Nami goes down once again. The hilly scenario, as I feel like this Lucian Nami is just not really like, I feel like they're not finding the opportunities, and they're a little senselessly aggressive here. Like there were multiple situations now where they could have played much more considerate of what is happening on the map. Obviously, right, in this high elo and the competitive games, everyone is kind of on the same page when it comes to, or well, at least should and could be on the same page. As we are looking for Renekton here. Renekton ultimate traded for Ornn ultimate. I don't know what I think about this, as he obviously isn't diveable. We see a little bit of a surround setup here, yeah, by Renekton. All right, as we're going to be engaging on to Levi. Flash out, beautiful ultimate, and that is a kill picked up onto the Karthus. Yeah, I figured that would not go the blue team's way, just because Karthus is quite fragile, and if Renekton is good at one thing, then setting up for these long-range damage ultimates. Alright, Gam Esports finding an opening here onto Jackie Love. Jackie Love has to flash out. Nami will not go down. Quite unfortunate, because so far that was a very, very good job, and the gold lead in the bot lane is non-existent. A little bit of a weird build actually by Jackie Love. I didn't realize this before, but he's going collector now? It would seem so. It would seem so. We're going to have a look at it in a second. All right, instant replay here of that situation. Right, we saw the setup where Renekton walked around. There's obviously no Ornn ultimate available here, and yeah, that is just a kill onto the Karthus. Picked up. What do you do if you can't move? Not much, it turns out. as we have a Void Staff second for the mid laner. Obviously, Knight doesn't really do a lot of damage with his current item build, or at least a lot of assassination damage, right? So his damage will probably look absolutely terrible, but he will be able to deal some damage to the Ornn and to the set. All right. More jungle picked up here by the Graves. A very, very different picture than what we expected, to be honest, as Karthus, it was, you know, kind of ahead, but fell very far behind through a couple of plays. Another Herald picked up and will be summoned to destroy the mid lane tier 1 turret. I mean, it's fine. Quite a bit of damage traded onto the tier 2. Actually, I think we are going to pick that up. Now, this is standing gold, so this gold is only really getting them ahead as long as they're ahead, which is something that you want to keep in mind, right? But it is another tower that they did pick up that the enemy team hasn't picked up. But we trade for that, a dragon, which obviously for Gam is quite unfortunate, because getting Infernal Soul is generally pretty juicy for Graves, and it's also pretty juicy for Karthus, obviously. So yeah, all right. Superplex goes out. There's no way Lucian will deal enough damage to this set anyway. Oh my god, the ultimate, the ghost disrespect. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. As we are going to be picking up another turret as TES. And now we have a little bit of a low state, because this is going to take a while, right? 3 minutes until Baron comes. 4 minutes for the next dragon. It is a Cloud Dragon. Cloud Dragon, honestly, is a cloud. What? It's a mountain. Mountain, honestly, is a very, very strong one. I would say a little bit better on TES than it would be on Gam, but not to be underestimated. I think that it is stronger against Gam than it is on Gam. I would say that is definitely the case. But honestly, it's also pretty good on Gam. So we're going to be looking for, we're going to be looking for a little bit of a top lane fiesta, but incorrectly sniffed out by Gam. They are going to give up that turret. A little bit more standing gold here collected by TES. Very slight gold lead here by TES, 2k gold. But obviously we are still all very far from completing your build, so every gold lead is also translating into, you know, an actual like gold lead. But then we have to consider the difference in item spikes and all of that coming up for the next dragon, as Karthus is going to complete an item here probably before the next dragon happens. Honestly, I'm kind of expecting that to go TES's way at this point, because I don't feel that Karthus is strong enough yet, but we will see what ends up happening. All right. So far, Ornn is doing a pretty solid job resisting. Obviously has fallen behind in CS quite a bit here, but obviously as Ornn, it's not your highest focus to obtain the crazy CS values, right? If you can help your team achieve something, you're ready to give up like 20 farm for that. They can get a kill onto a carry and maybe a tower or a herald. That would be great. Red buff picked up by Gam here, or not. Unlucky. Arnold coming through. A little bit disconnected team fight here, as TES are standing together. Reddington in the front, Graves in the back. TES is going to superplex Graves, and Graves is absolutely dead. But Kalista dies as well, and this is a beautiful flank angle by Ahri. A little bit of a mistake though dashes in a little bit too far and gets his engage denied. Now we have another charge here on the Ahri as Set tries to trade it. This is Jackie Love going down, and so they did manage to pick up Jackie Love, but I mean TES comes away with an absolutely huge fight here, and that will allow them to definitely pick up this dragon. However, one thing that we want to talk about is they're all quite far away from the next power spikes, right? If you look at the items that are available, there are not really any items that they could finish that would make them super strong. I'm not 100% sure if Renington has already spent his money, but I think he has. So there's no item finish there, and basically all of them are just getting components, which, yes, sure, components give them strength, but they don't create as much of a lead. Okay, so here the superplex onto the Callista, and yeah, the Nami Lucian definitely doing a good job at assassinating the Callista here, as we have the fight for the dragon. All right, Gam inside of the jungle would be able to set up a little bit of a concave here. Yep, Set definitely working on exactly that, trying to split up the team. Wayward is on a similar mission here. Wayward very disconnected from this fight. Superplex comes out and everyone dies before Wayward can arrive. The Renington ultimate has been used like way before this fight, and that is a Gam victory, and that means Gam will pick up the first Mountain Soul, which is absolutely huge. This is 9% resistances not going over to TES. Also, obviously going over to Gam, so that's also great. But the not going over to ES is actually very important here for the Karthus, and also very good for the Callista. Both champions that love enemies with with low resistances. So we are going to be working on a Nature's Grasp, a Force of Nature here on the set. Interesting, as Karthus obviously has the Shadow Fire completed, so that definitely is something. But when it comes to power spikes, we are a little bit further away from most of the power spikes here. Renington has one coming in. I suppose Lucian will have one coming in soonish as well. But this fight, beautiful flank here by Set, right, as he superplexes in Knight. But not only that, unfortunately actually that the shutdown went over to Renata, but what do you do? But not only that, Wayward just way too late on the engage there. I think had he been able to find an angle in that second as well, he would have caused a lot of chaos in that fight, and it would have been an absolutely winnable fight. All right, so TS definitely not looking as strong as as we were expecting them to do, though, because a lot of unclean play is happening here. And yeah, it is just it's unfortunate, but you know, what do you do? TS at this point are still in it to win it, so they need to win versus Gam, and they will be totally fine. And I mean, if you look at the odds, right, the odds are very good that TS beats Gam. As a charm onto the Callista. Yeah, Callista very low here, as this fight is going to be probably just a retreat, as Nami, obviously Nami ultimate can be really good, but TS team is not as good with Nami ult as, for example, something like the Set would be, right? So it is what it is, as Gam style has recovered a little bit. And we are going to be looking at a dragon here as TES. Right, stopping the dragon again, looking for a catch. Nami bubble gives it away. Beautiful flank here by Wayward. The superplex coming through. Ahri is able to kite out the Set, but this is a kill picked up onto the Renekton as Gam is running down TES now. Oh, the Karthus slow? No, 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 no. We are not fighting this. Okay. We are just fighting the Baron now. Obviously giving TES a little bit of a more even heading again. As Knight is coming in the flank angle. Graves doesn't have his ultimate at the ready. And yep, this is just going to be a disengage here. Not much that Knight can do. Unfortunate that, you know, Flash was blown there, but that was an absolute disaster. Now, Top Esports starting this fight, honestly, I think looks much more reliable. But Ornn is coming through. Ornn is going to be a chunky boy, and yeah. No one is doing Baron here. What an interesting back and forth on the Baron here. Honestly, I didn't really see a lot of chance for anyone to be able to do this, but it is what it is. I also want to point out that Ornn's items are coming through. The ornaments are coming through. First one has been acquired onto the Karthus already. So yeah, so this one, Gam loses a lot of resistances, right? And loses quite a bit of HP fighting this. And obviously TES are forced to move back in, but there's just not much they can currently do versus TES. We have a flash here. Very, very last second flash by Knight. Arguably baits out the Karthus ult. Solid Karthus ult damage here. Chunking everyone low. Creating a little bit of an opening here for something like the set if he can find it. Set a little bit out of position, but we could superplex the Renekton into the Nami Lucian. But this is going to be the superplex into the wall. As Ornn is in a little bit of trouble. Yep, he's going down to Jackie Love. The top laners will be traded so far, but Lucian is looking for more, and that is a Karthus picked up as well. Don't fight inside of the Karthus. He understands the TES. Knight manages to... Oh my god. This is actually such a scary situation. Alright, so let's see how they try to get out of this. Obviously, Tian, not the fullest of HP bars here. As a beautiful job here. Yeah, beautiful job here by Kalista and Renata. And this is actually a good trade. Set only goes down as Gam will pick up a counter kill here and keep the Kalista alive. So very, very solid job and absolutely disaster avoided. Now, it still is a little bit of a disastrous fight, but at least we managed to get the dragon here, right? Which is another mountain soul, or another mountain dragon, counting towards our soul, picked up. So now we have a soul point for Gam, which is a very, very strong win condition. But the fight itself looked very, very TES favored, right? Obviously, Lucian at this point dealing insane amounts of damage. Doing standard Lucian things, he has to wait out a lot of the fight just because he just can't run in. But then here, just goes in, assassinates the jungler. Now here, he needs to run out of. Yeah, he needs to run out of this. One more Q and he would have been dead. Alright, as Kalista, shield bow has been popped. She is able to regenerate a little bit of HP. But Set manages to... Yep. Set manages to kind of play with Knight and play with Jackie Love. And that way, Style is able to pick up a kill onto the Graves here. With the bleed out. And, or the bailout, I think is what it's called. With the bailout, is going to be able to get out of this situation. Barely. Alright. So, the game is definitely TES favored. But Gam could... at any point still win a team fight. It is not at all it is not at all an great victory here for TES, and this is a little bit concerning, obviously, because TES, how do I say this? TES has been doing a, you know, relatively solid job in Worlds before. But this one, it just doesn't look similar. Like Tian, MVP for the LPL summer split, right? So definitely impressive. TS generally had a really good run in LPL, but this Worlds run, it is not like the last Worlds run, and it is also not like their LPL run. No clue why, but it's just a little bit of the dominance just not there, right? TS Knight doing a solid job. As we are going to be starting the Baron here. Does Gam know? The teleport coming in, yeah, at this point they do know, and they are all ready. A little bit of a concave setup. Ultimate by Karthus coming through, chunking everyone. 30% HP loss as the Renata ult is coming through. Little unfortunate. Nami going to flash, but it doesn't matter. As Gam now tries to start this Baron, but that is absolutely not the idea. Alright, Charm not connecting. And generally, I feel like Knight has not been doing a whole lot of damage in this entire situation. So that is a little bit of an unfortunate situation. However, we have another one of a skirmish setups here. Obviously, Lucian giving a little bit of a back massage to the set. We all love it. Cyril the Scrutch already picked up by the Lucian is absolutely great. But Lucian is starting to run kind of low on mana. Now, I know he's Half-Life, but for a really panicked fight that is as ongoing as the fights have been for these two teams, this could be a little unfortunate. Could be a little scary. All right, so the dragon fight is happening. Now, this needs to be picked up by Gam, but I would say that Gam is not in the best of positions here. Again, right, a concave setup by TES with Gam in the middle. Gam not dealing a whole lot of damage to the dragon, but Kalista has got a lot of alone time with this dragon, and this means the question is, are we going to be able to pick this up? As the dragon resets and moves back into the pit, really bad for Gam here, as they now have to fight. Blue team has stolen the dragon, and that is a soul going over. And another, oh my god, and another 2 kills here by the Karthus acquired. Absolutely huge job by Levi here. That is amazing. All right, the swing back is huge, and Gam is going to be able to pick up the Mountain Soul. Absolutely amazing job here by Gam. Definitely puts them into a situation where they are just so strong now. Kalista with a Mountain Dragon is so scary. Obviously, Renata, you don't really care about it, right? Set is decent. You don't love it. You don't hate it. It's okay. Yeah, you don't need it, right? All right, we are not able to get this Baron just because no jungler is available. As Karthus is pretty huge, but I think that the main value here by Gam is actually not having these dragons on TES. I think I really want to say that is the main point of the whole situation, because getting that onto TES would be absolutely scary. Graves is good with it. Lucian is good with it. Right, Ahri is decent with it, as well as, yep, Baron goes over, swings over to TES just on a technicality of the setup. Little unfortunate situation there. I think Gam definitely could have contested that. Ultimate wise, we were not quite ready, but still. This fight looked so scary, right? And then the dragon resets, and somehow Levi still manages to grab the dragon. Such an unfortunate situation here. Tian obviously also struggling quite a bit lately, but you know, I would say he is doing a solid job on this Graves. Yeah, that is just such an unfortunate situation, I will say, dude. But it is what it is, and we can't forget that obviously this is still a pretty big lead for TES. They will probably be acquiring at least one turret off of this Baron. With the Red Bull Baron power play now. As Superplex comes out. Oh, pick up onto Tian. Tian is going down, and that is a trade for Set versus the Graves. I think that is a pretty decent trade. Obviously, one Baron will go down, but also that means that Set is not available to defend. But I mean, how important is Set in clearing waves? Not really that much. So I think that picking up the Graves is much better than picking up the Set here in this scenario. Levi going to be moving into the top lane and going to be looking for something there. We have a potential actually really good team fight angle for Gam here, with how everyone is grouped up and, you know, set up against the wall. But no engage coming out by Ornn. Obviously no team fight happening, as the top lane jungler is going to be raided. Oh, those who walk in will die. Set obviously absolutely bulky. Again, right, the dragon just adding to his overall resistances, so definitely loves it. Karthus is a really strong one in this one. Incredibly strong, right? Obviously Graves is quite far ahead, but yet he still, I would say he still has to get his Cyrilda's Grudge. So I mean, at least I'm expecting a Cyrilda's Grudge. So he definitely still has to get that until he becomes really strong. Generally, I think you want a lot of penetration here as TES, because obviously the resistances are there menacingly. All right, so right now we are in a little bit of a stalemate, right? And there's not much happening as the Elder Dragon is coming up in 1 minute. So that is definitely the objective that we want to set up. For getting a pick here onto the Renington would be amazing. That would be absolutely great. Is not happening though. And so now we have a little bit of a good flank here by Knight. Ornn is there to thwart it though. Set is still with the main team, so there is enough protection there. Ornn ultimate coming out aggressively. I don't know about that one, but the aggressive ultimate here by the Karthus, and Nami is going down. Knight is dangerously low, but he is not dead yet, as he will be picked up by Levi. And this might be a dragon coming up for Gam. Oh, Kia is going to be down. Kiaya is going to be down, as well as Kadi. Oh, well, barely lives. Absolutely close. Very scary situation there. But that is a little bit unfortunate that we lost the Ornn, as a flash is going to secure a kill onto the Renington. Actually, Guardian Angel wasted. I would have critiqued that flash, but the fact that the Guardian Angel was lost here is absolutely huge. And so now we have a very scary situation. It is 4 members versus Graves, Lucian, and Nami. Now 100% TES has to fight this, as this is a catch onto the Graves, but Lucian is around to deal absolutely copious amounts of damage. And oh my god, that is a no, that is TES picking up the Elder Dragon here onto Gam, and the kill. Absolutely amazing TP by Knight here, takes over this team fight, charming and killing the Karthus, denying the smite as Lucian picks up the Elder Dragon. Absolutely amazingly done here by TES. And that is just such a heartbreaker situation for GAM. They were doing really good on dragons. They were doing good in the fight as well. And then just barely, just like that, they do not win it. Unfortunate situation. So is Ornn able to kill this minion? Yep, he is able to kill the minion. So that already means, yep, that the turrets are going to have more resistances for a while, as still he goes down. And so, yeah. And here we have the dreaded Set picks up a kill onto JackieLove, and that is the Nexus living barely. And at this point, I want to point out something real quick, okay? So we have reviewed this game, and what happened is that JackieLove's Hex Drinker went on cooldown, but actually didn't give him the shield that it was supposed to give him against the Cast Assault, making him get superplexed and die to the Set, which wasn't necessarily happening, which could have actually ended this game. So a lot of people say that TES should have won the game right here, right in that situation. This should have been the point. This should have been the point where TES wins, and a bug stopped them. All right, so let's examine what exactly is going on here. Graves is quite strong, but he is not as much of a menace just because of that dragon, right? Now, the next Elder Dragon is coming up in 4 minutes. Baron is up and is available, as GAM is obviously looking to break the base. They're going to be picking up one Nexus as teleport comes through. I don't think that it is possible for them to finish this game, but we will see. Set moving in here as, yeah, no, this is definitely not possible anymore. As oh, it is possible. It is possible, and GAM will pick up a kill onto the Nexus. TES absolutely destroyed by a bug here. And I want to take this freeze frame a little bit and talk to you. I want to talk to you a little bit about this bug and what happened in the aftermath, because a lot of people were sad that this happened, and now that this was a bug that kind of cost TES the game, this is the point where a lot of Chinese fans are up in arms, and they are sad as hell about the fact that that happened. And the question is, what do you do? Do you replay the entire day of matches? Because with the given Worlds format that we currently have, you would have to replay every game after this, and you would have to replay this game as well. And replaying this game just on a technicality is probably going to be really difficult, right? Given that the venue has to be, well, maybe booked again, or at least prepared, right? You have to fly in some of the teams again, because I would expect that TES at this point has left, because this is basically, this is the end for them, right? This is the point where they have to go home. So them going home, obviously the way we know Riot means that they will have to go home very soon, right? And probably like a day after this already, and which means that at this point, obviously, they are already at home. So do you replay that? Because the bug was discovered a couple of days later. And to that, with my unprofessional opinion, I would just say no. I'm not expecting this to be replayed. It's a really unfortunate situation, right? And maybe you can make up to it. So as a developer, maybe you can make up to it to TES by giving them a certain amount of money, maybe just like as an excuse to be like, damn, you know, it was our bad, it's our fucking spaghetti code game, right? But you can't really replay anymore. You can't really do much, unfortunately, because of that. Just because what do you do, right? Do you reschedule the entire league, basically put in another day, make all the teams replay their matches, create absolute chaos for everyone else? What do? Well, I'm expecting unfortunately, not much to be happening, as Top Esports taken a very, very unlucky and very severe loss. Obviously, Gam Esports, they were already out. But now, well, it's not looking good for Top. So, thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one, and stay awesome.